Hey, Mike, you're walking along and on a dirt path, and every year or every 100 feet, you age a year. Uh, you start at 15. What happens when you go 15 feet? How old are you?
I don't know, man.
30. 30. What happens if you go 12 feet? How old are you? 27. About 13 feet. You're 18, 28. What's that called? When you fall off.
A cliff.
The
Age cliff. I
Right?
gotcha. Yeah, man.
That's what we're talking about today on the Fantasy Forecast with Grindberg and Biggs. Running backs at the age cliff. Producer. Welcome to the Fantasy Forecast with Grindberg and Biggs. I am Biggs. He is Grindberg. You are watching the Fantasy Football Advice Network on the YouTubes. And today we are talking about age cliff running backs. That's running backs that have reached the age of 27 when production tends to start falling off. However, what we know about the age cliff is that it doesn't always apply to elite players. So in this episode, where, by the way, Grindberg loves my riddles, in this episode, I'm going to be talking about three running backs who are hitting the age cliff that you might want to be wary of. Maybe fade them a little bit, maybe not expect them to return the production that they have over the last few years. And Grindberg is going to be giving you three guys that, hey, don't fucking worry about it, gentlemen and ladies who play fantasy football, because ladies should be playing fantasy football. Yeah. Don't worry about it, ladies and gentlemen. These guys are safe picks. So to get it started, I'm going to talk about last year's heroic RB1, Christian McCaffrey of the San Francisco 49ers. Now, Christian McCaffrey is 28 years old, and he does have a couple years where he did suffer some severe injuries. He is still essentially within his physical peak, but he does have some competition in Breece Hall and Bijan Robinson for the RB1 spot. I'm not saying don't draft Christian McCaffrey, and again, let me throw that out there for this episode too. I'm not saying these guys are not draftable. I'm just saying maybe there's a reason to not expect the same production that we've been getting from them over the last few years. And Christian McCaffrey is the first one I wanted to talk about. Second one, and you knew this one was coming, Saquon Barkley. Similar situation. He's a little bit younger. He's 27, but he's also had some catastrophic injuries. He's also on a new team. And that new team hasn't really supported a high production running back in recent years since their quarterback was Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, RPO a lot, takes away some goal line carries. Saquon Barkley, all things being perfect in a perfect world, Saquon Barkley is an historic profile at running back and should be a top 5 running back every single season. The problem is the team that he's on and the injury history and his age. So maybe we can't expect the same things with Saquon that we have historically. And now I leave the floor open to Mike Lindberg, a.k.a. G-Berg, a.k.a. Grindberg, a.k.a. Schultze. What do you got to say?
Not so fast, my friend.
Oh,
Pull the old on you. Yeah. So I'll just hit on both of those guys real quick.
You were going to hit on these guys.
Oh, yeah. You know, I'm a big McCaffrey guy. Love him. I don't think he's slowing down.
Your mic is slowing down.
Yeah, it's slowing down just a little bit.
Again, I love Christian McCaffrey. I'm just drafting Breece Hall and Bijan Robinson before I draft McCaffrey. So if McCaffrey is at the right price, I'll still take McCaffrey. Is he going to be RB1? He could be. He very well could be. Chances are he will be. But I'm not going to pay the price for it.
Fair enough. And then I'm pretty out on Saquon for all the reasons you mentioned. And the biggest one is the number of touches he's taken the last couple of years, astronomical. And when he was on the Giants, he was the most talented player by a landslide. So they just had to give him the ball. And there was just really no one else. And that is no longer the case. And I think that is a huge, huge deal for him in a negative way.
Agreed.
I'm back.
Hi.
What is happening?
I'm right here. Just let me have a mic for a second. I'm back. Mike is on the mic, and I'm going to talk about. Oh, yeah. See you, Schultze. We'll talk to you later. But thanks for the input there. Biggs, can you hear me? Okay.
I can hear you just fine, Mike.
Good. I just wanted to make sure my mic was velvety in your ears.
Mike's Mike.
All right. Okay, so I'm going to talk about an age cliff player that I think is on the age cliff, but I think still has some potential here in 2024, and that is Gus Edwards. He lands in LA. He's poised to exceed expectations and surpasses RB36 draft position. Despite some worries about his 2023 performance metrics, Edwards' track record of efficiency and scoring prowess makes him a key player for the Chargers' run-oriented offense under Greg Roman. With an emphasis on the ground game and ample chances near the goal line, I'm expecting Edwards to have that potential to deliver consistent flex-worthy weeks and rise to RB2 status if he has sufficient opportunities. I still think Kamani Vidal is going to have a place in that lineup, but Gus Edwards is going to have the goal line work, and that's why I think he's going to exceed expectations at that age cliff. Now, my second guy that has an lofty ADP of 15, but I think he still has the position to move into some similar position like did last year. He signed a new contract and with the Houston Texans, and I'm talking about Joe Mixon, 3-year, $27 million as the league. He's one of the top paid running backs right now. Mixon steps into a key role that was occupied last year by Devin Singletary, who closed out last season as the RB15. And I think Mixon has more upside than Singletary did. Mixon is set to have a significant fantasy impact. Despite prior concerns about his efficiency, the volume itself is going to stand him alone, and I think he could outperform that ADP and, pull into the top 10 if he can finish the whole season. Now, Biggs, a fader for you, a guy that hits that age cliff now at the running back position. And we know that it hits hard. It hits hard on these guys at running back position. They hit a little bit harder than any other position. So tell me about it. Who's not going to hit that ADP this year?
Well, first of all, I want to applaud you on your invention of the word prowess. Okay. My spotlight is Alvin Kamara. And again, I want to establish I am drafting Alvin Kamara in lots and lots of situations. In our last episode, I referenced the charity tournament that Grindberg and I are playing in, where I drafted Travis Kelce, who I talked about in the first Age Cliff episode, and I also drafted Alvin Kamara. So these are not guys who are limited. They're just don't be surprised if something goes wrong. Alvin Kamara is 28 years old. 28 is the age at which running backs tend to fall off. Again, however, we know that elite players tend to extend that age cliff a little bit. Alvin Kamara is one of those elite players. So just be wary of the fact that he could. So what I'm saying is mitigate the cost. Look at Alvin Kamara. Look at who the guys are that are around him. Maybe if you can take somebody else who's younger and not about to fall off the age cliff, and then when it comes back around, still grab Alvin Kamara, then essentially what you're doing is you're making sure that you get some production from the pick that you take before him, and then also hoping that he returns to his production level that he's had. Again, on other episodes of this show, I have smashed Alvin Kamara. So it's not a don't draft thing. It's a, hey, if you're at the 11-12 turn, if you're at the turn 12, you have the 12th pick of one round and the first pick of the next, maybe draft somebody else first, just in case. Almost like a real quick handcuff. Not necessarily taking Kondre Miller later, 5 or 6, 7 rounds later than Alvin Kamara, but taking a different player first and then grabbing Kamara on the other side. That's all.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, here's a player that is kind of right on the cusp of hitting that age cliff.
Here's a guy.
Here's a guy, but he's on the upswing here. Like, he's going towards that age cliff. He's not quite there yet because he's still, pretty young. But at 26 years old, that's pretty close to the age cliff, especially with a guy that has ran the ball as much as Najee Harris has. And he's entering 2024. I think he's going to exceed the expectation of ADP 23. He's facing some challenges, though. Competition with Jalen Warren, but I think with the new offensive coordinator Arthur Smith headed in there, he's going to use both of those guys quite a bit in a more run-centric offense. Because they got a new quarterback, Russell Wilson, with that leadership. I think they're going to try and run the ball a little bit more. So what does that mean for Najee? I think it just means that he's going to have very similar output that he has in the past, very similar opportunity to thrive. They're going to have a robust ground game, and Najee is going to benefit from that volume. Despite those past concerns, his blend of athleticism, his elusiveness, and proven ability in both rushing and receiving roles positions him as a solid RB2 and some weeks RB1 upside if the Steelers can be in scoring position quite a bit and he can get in the red zone. Najee charges into 2024. I think he's going to defy expectations and shine beyond his RB23 ADP. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are destined to be revitalized offense with, a potent quarterback duel of Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. I think he's going to have a good season. I think that whole Steeler offense is on the verge of a really good season in a division that is really tough. I think there's going to be a lot of points scored there, and Najee Harris is going to probably score a lot of touchdowns in that red zone. So that's my take on that. I can't hear you.
The button, it just didn't work. I want to shift gears here a little bit. In Major League Baseball, since May 8th, Shohei Ohtani is fourth in RBIs since May 8th with 37. Giants outfielder Elliot Ramos is third with 38. First is Aaron Judge with 62. Are you kidding me? Come on. Almost 30 more RBIs in the same amount of time. That's crazy. Anyway, a funny thing happened on the way to superstardom. We decided to come with a series of age cliff spotlights, and I just gave you a list of guys to absolutely draft, and Mike just gave you a list of guys absolutely not to draft, even though I said I said be wary of these guys, and Mike was like, smash. Don't listen to us. Take this episode, flip it, draft the guys I said that I talked about. Don't draft the guys Mike talked about. We are confused, and you've been watching the Fantasy Forecast with Grindberg and bigz. Schultz, do you have anything to add?
I like turtles.
Thank you. Make sure you like the episode. Subscribe if you haven't before. We've got content pumping out 3 times a week. We got all kinds of stuff coming up on the Fantasy Football Advice Network, including a new app that you're going to want to be a part of. Everything all at once. Twitter, Discord, all the social media things. We're looking at a fantastic app coming out. Also, we're going to be at the Fantasy Football Expo in August. Come out to that. It's more of a content creator thing, but we sure want fans out there. And we're going to be signing people up for listener leagues. My IDP listener league is going to have an autographed Josh Allen Jaguars linebacker jersey available to the winner. Mike's got Tyreek Hill, so everybody's going to want to be a part of that one. Follow us on Twitter at BigBonedFFB, at FFConnect99, at SCH1TZY Shuanzi. And
Shuanzi.
Thank you for watching. We hope you win.
We hope you win, folks. I love Lamb.